And hello, everyone, and welcome to another FemaleFriYay, where you can't be what you can't see. Today, we're going over to Michigan to speak to one of the other ASRA Block Babes. There seems to be so many of these ladies that are doing a phenomenal job over in the States. So, this morning, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Melissa Byrne. How are you doing, Melissa?
Great. Thanks, Becky, for having me.
That's good. No, you're
Really
on
an honor.
the top of my ASRA Block Babe list. So we're going to get started with a simple question. Melissa, what's your name? Where do you come from originally, and where do you currently work?
So my name is Melissa Burns. I am originally from Michigan, and I currently work as a clinical assistant professor at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm also the associate program director for the residency, and I'm our director of point of care ultrasound education for the Department of Anesthesia.
So what got you into point of care, stroke, regional, stroke, ultrasound based anesthesia?
Well, to be quite honest, I really loved regional as a resident. And then I went and did private practice for a year where I took care of the patients from pre-op, from their blocks through the operating room and into recovery. And during that time, I realized just how much I really felt invested in patients in whom I was providing regional anesthesia for. And so I opted to come back and I did a regional anesthesia and ambulatory anesthesia fellowship at Michigan after my year in private practice. And to be honest, like the best part about it for me has been the opportunity to utilize that ultrasound skill and now advance it into the realm of point of care ultrasound.
So would you say that's your favorite bit of the job?
Oh, my favorite bit of the job, it's teaching. And I think that spans the spectrum from teaching regional to now the incorporation of point of care ultrasound in clinical practice.
What do you think you might do if you weren't an anesthesiologist?
Oh goodness. I thought about this long and hard, and I think I would honestly do something like marketing or graphic design. I have a very like creative side that I don't really show a lot of times to, it's a little bit hard in clinical medicine. But I think something like that would kind of help my right brain be a little bit more fulfilled.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that. Every lady that I've interviewed for FemaleFriYay has said that they have a creative side that they don't explore, or they do. We've had painters, photographers, as part-time hobbies. So maybe the world of female regional anesthesia are actually quite artistic.
I think I try to put a little bit of creativity when I give presentations, just because I want it to be a little bit representative of me as myself and as an educator. But yeah, I think that I would find some fulfillment in doing something in that more creative realm.
Perfect. And as a passionate regional anesthesiologist, I'm sure you've got a favourite block. Can you tell us about it? If not, we'll take your favourite dinosaur.
So this is funny because my 7-year-old son loves dinosaurs.
You can
And
tell us both.
he also loves puns, right? So I
Okay.
thought if I could be both, I'd be an erector spinosaurus because his
Yes.
favorite dinosaur is a Spinosaurus. But
Okay.
in actuality, my favorite block is actually supraclavicular block. I do
Okay.
this very routinely in my clinical practice. I work in ambulatory surgery center. And I think that what I really like about it, one is just the profound analgesia that the patients get, but then kind of tying that back into my interest in education, it's really the opportunity to teach the full gamut of the brachial plexus anatomy, and also kind of tie in some of those POCA skills that I think are really relevant to what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's a good block, the spinal of the arm, after all. So we're going to move on now to our block break. I'm going to ask you some questions completely unrelated to regional anaesthesia. And actually, this scares the ladies the most. I don't know why. You
I
should
don't know
know
why.
it.
My heart rate is
It's,
definitely higher.
it's, it's
So.
all about you. So I'm going to get my questions up, and I've got my timer. So if you're ready, we're
Okay.
going to start. Melissa, what's your favourite type of music?
Oh goodness, I like pop music, I'll be honest.
Okay, and what's the first thing you do in the morning?
Some mornings I hit the snooze button. I know that Melody said that as well, but a lot
Yeah,
of mornings I actually go to the gym.
okay. And what's your most used emoji on your phone?
Oh goodness. Maybe the one that goes like this.
Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, early bird by
Would
far.
you rather have money, or more free time?
More free time right now.
And are you a sweet or savory kind of person?
Oh, sweet all the way.
If you could only eat one food again for the rest of your life, what do you think it might be?
Oh, goodness. Um, Probably ice cream.
Okay, that's a good choice. And if you could travel anywhere in the world, cost and time aside, where might you go?
Oh, I need to go to Europe because I've only been to a very small portion.
Okay, and one final question, just because it's so interesting. What's your desert island item?
Um, how about a rowboat so I could get off it and see people?
Yeah, that's always a really practical answer. So going back to the more serious regional questions, tell us a bit about how you got from, say, your residency to your post at Michigan, like a little bit about your career path.
Sure. So, like I said, I was in private practice, and then I decided to come back for regional fellowship. And then I think what I found is that in regional, I have such a great opportunity to teach at the bedside with residents that I saw that my career trajectory really was targeting, education in general. I was also really fortunate during my fellowship. I took the first ASRA POCUS course. And I really started to see like how this could be useful, not only, with relationship to regional itself, but also in my clinical practice. And that's where my department took notice, and I kind of got brought into the fold insofar as teaching point of care ultrasound at my institution in my current role as the director of education. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I just like being at the bedside. I think it's a great opportunity to interact with trainees of all types, medical students, residents, fellows, to provide them with instantaneous feedback. And I think that's one thing we get a lot of satisfaction from is, one, we're providing a clinical service to our patients, but also we can kind of see how the trainees are growing in their skill sets along the continuum of their training.
Perfect. What do you think's been your biggest career achievement?
I feel very fortunate that I have been brought on as ASRA POCUS faculty. I found an incredible group of mentors, colleagues, and honestly, friends from across the globe. And to me, I feel exceedingly privileged to be a part of that group.
Okay, and more negatively, what do you think's been your biggest career struggle?
I'll be honest, that first year out in private practice was rough. The first few months, it was just like the proverbial drinking from a fire hose, learning new systems, learning new people, learning and understanding how surgeons in a different institution work. But I think what it did provide me was a lot of insight into what my true passion was, and how much I miss being in an educational environment.
Okay, and what's the best piece of advice you think you've ever been given, career or otherwise?
So when I went into my private practice role, one of my attendings at Michigan actually said to me, now, if you're doing OB, just remember, when in doubt, place the epidural. And to be quite fair, that's the recommendation I give to our residents who are heading out into private practice, because I think, if you want to sleep at night and know that the patient is safe, but also because you actually want to sleep sometime on call, it's just a great piece of advice just to think, like, if something's not working, you're better off just replacing it, starting over, and making the patient feel comfortable.
Perfect. Have you had any strong female rentals in your career?
Yeah, I'll be very honest that our current vice chair of education, Dr. Nora Naughton, has been an incredible mentor for me. She was my program director at Michigan when I graduated, and now she is the vice chair of education, as I mentioned. But she really has taught me what it means to be strong, to be able to share your opinions, and also what it means to be an educator, insofar as not just at the bedside and how we teach our trainees, but also what it is to be a good administrator, which is a lot of my current role in the department.
What advice would you give to women coming up behind you in your field of medicine?
I think it's always going to be challenging. I think that if you work hard, that becomes noticed, but also be willing to share your achievements. with others, because I think as women, we tend to keep our successes to ourselves. But we have to be really proud of the things that we've accomplished and be willing to share that in a more public forum.
Okay, and finally, Melissa, tell us something about you that we may not know.
Well, I was going to say that I was in a movie once, which is true, but someone else already said that.
Oh no, I want to
So,
hear about it. I want to hear about, you can
oh,
say
this this
both.
was this was a B-rated movie. It was called The Killing Tide, which when I searched it yesterday, it actually at some point was on Amazon Prime. But I was not even 15, I don't think. And my sister and I were in the film. It was filmed in our like local area. And we were the golf cart beer girls. And all I can think now is like, I don't think I was even actually old enough to be serving beer, let alone probably shouldn't have been driving a golf cart. So,
Okay, so what was your other one you were going to say? You can have both.
oh, I actually got a chance to cheer for Monday Night Football for the NFL when I was in high school.
Wow.
So that's kind of fun.
Do you know, it's incredible the amount of women in our community who have got these like achievements of like almost Olympian professional sport. I don't know whether it's a prerequisite to be a woman in regional anesthesia, that you've either got to be like some sporty heroine or, like, I don't know. I'm lost for words by some of the things I
We're
hear
just
on
women of
this.
many talents. So
We are. Well, Melissa, thank you very much for joining us. And
thank you, Becky. It's been awesome.
yeah, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Same to you.